What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today, my friends, we're going to be talking about something that I actually did a video of many moons ago, where I actually did back-to-back the top 5 converter-filled fountain pens, so like cartridge converter, and my top 5 piston fill. So I thought, you know what? That was fun. It has been many years since I have done that, so let's just do it again because it was fun, and you guys seem to enjoy it way back when, where I filmed it in, my parents' kitchen really late at night. I'm pretty sure I filmed that at like 11 o'clock at night or something like that. That was back in the day when I was, young and bulletproof and didn't go to sleep until 2 or 3 in the morning. And now my 86-year-old inner lady wants to go to bed at like 10 o'clock at night. Or like, last night was 10:30. So I thought I would do it again. And you guys have seeming to have liked the previous week, the Blitz week, where I posted every Monday I posted every weekday, so like Monday to Friday, with 4 out of those 5 being top 5 type videos. And I did not intend on continuing that theme, but then I was just flipping through some of my old videos and was like, you know what? That was a good time. I want to do it again. And if anything on this channel, I do what I want because it's mine. So I have 2 honorable mentions, and then my actual top 5. Now, I did put a rule on this in that I have to own all of these pens, so that I can talk about them and show them to you. So let's jump into my honorable mentions. And the first one is the Pilot Custom 912. And I know that's going to come as a shock to most of you because you know how much I adore and love this pen. But the reason why I put it in an honorable mention is because the reason I adore and love this pen isn't necessarily because of the pen itself, but it's because I have a Falcon nib on here with a 3-slit ebonite feed. So I like it a lot because I have slightly customized it-ish. Not really, but ish. And so because of that, that is why this is one of my all-time favorite pens. But if it wasn't that configuration, like I have like a Waverly nib one, or if it was just like a standard Pilot nib, I don't think it would have made my top. And I also thought really long and hard about the Pilot Custom 74, but that one also did not make the top. Because while it wasn't straight out a rule for me, I really tried to think of like one pen per brand. And I do have a Pilot pen in this top 5. So that is why the Pilot Custom 912 is an honorable mention. The other honorable mention is another pen I talk about a lot, and that is the Jinhao X159. The reason why this is an honorable mention is because there's another pen in the top 5 that was sort of like neck and neck with this one, that it was sort of like one or the other. And the reason why this one got bumped is only because I know a lot of you folks in the comment section down below when I talk about this pen have told me that the quality control is not quite there, so sometimes you get a bum nib and it just doesn't write very well. So that's why I bumped it. I really like this pen. I talk about it a lot. I think it is one of the most important pens that you can get if you're ever considering getting something like a Montblanc 149, because those things are super duper unreasonably expensive, and this is not. So those are my 2 honorable mentions. Did they both mean to be, the classic black fountain pen, nondescript whatevers? Nope. Because I will tell you, none of my top 5 are. But that was just pure coinky-dink. So let's bang these out, shall we? None of them should come as a surprise. One of them, and they're not like necessarily in order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just my favorite 5 that happen to be cartridge converter. One of them is the Platinum 3776 Century. I really love this one. This has a fine nib. I talk about this one all the time. This is the chartreuse one. I do now have a celluloid in my collection, but this one is just the one that I've had the longest. because it's actually my very first ever gold nib. And it will always have a special place in my heart because of it. And the reason why I really love this one, despite the fact that it is a proprietary cartridge, is because this pen writes unlike none that I have in my collection. So for those of you who know me, you know that I like, super ridiculously smooth writers, very, very, like, basically no feedback would be preferable, that are just fire hose fountain pens. And this is the polar opposite. This is a fine nib. It is very fine. And it feels like you're writing with a, like, just purely sharpened number 2 pencil. It does have a fair amount of feedback. It's not scratchy, and it's definitely well tuned, but it does have a good amount of feedback. And it is the only pen in my collection that's like this. And for whatever reason, I love it. I don't really like any other pens that write like that, but this one I don't know, it just fits. I don't know if I just got it at the right time in my life. I don't know if, when I got it being my first gold nib, that I cherished it for that. I don't know. I can't explain it. It just brings me joy, and I absolutely adore it. And it's been in my collection for a long time and will basically always be in my collection. So that's one. The other one, again, I've talked about many, many times, and that is any Benu pen, to be fair, but specifically the Euphoria model. I really, really like the Euphoria model because it is one of their larger ones. This is the bourbon finish. As you all know, I have a million of them. It comes with a Schmidt nib, which is never super fancy, which is a bone of contention for some, but I think it's great. You can eyedropper convert most of them, as far as, like, you may or may not be able to see the ink through the barrel, but it does just have a standard international cartridge converter with the long cartridges, which is nice. For the Euphoria model, there are other models that don't take the long, but they're all standard international. You got a billion different finishes that you can choose from. This was the first one to grab me. Again, if you've watched my videos ever, you'll know that I'm obsessed with Benu pens, and I think you're missing out if you haven't given them a try yet. So that is definitely on that list. One of the newer pens that I have, and the only one actually that I haven't done a full review on yet, mostly because it's not a ton different from the resin version, but one of the newer fountain pens that I just picked up is the Kaweco Art Sport. It's kind of difficult for my camera to pick it up, but it's really difficult. I love the Kaweco Sport. Absolutely adore it. And so I decided, I just got ink all over me because this one's actually inked up. So I decided to pick this one up. It was more expensive, of course, because this is resin instead of just like basic plastic. I know resin is plastic, but there's like different grades of plastic. This one feels really great in my hand. So spoiler for the review, I really like the feel of this pen, especially over the traditional Kaweco Sport. This one, I did, to be fair, question whether I should put it on this list because it kind of barely qualifies as a converter fountain pen. It is certainly a cartridge fountain pen, but it only fits the standard international short cartridges, or you do have to pick up Kaweco's piston style converter. Does not hold very much ink. That said, you can eyedropper convert the entire body. I have done that once to one of my Kawecos, but I don't think I would ever do it to this one, just because I would be kind of scared that it would ruin the finish of the body on the inside. Whereas like my other ones, I did it once to this pen. I don't care about these ones as much. So I put this one on here because it's stunning. And I thought, you know what? It might be small, but it's mighty and it's awesome. All right. One that I've had for quite some time. I've actually sold, rebought. And the one that was head-to-head battle with the Jinhao is the Pilot Metropolitan. I thought long and hard between these two because I adore them both for different reasons. I will say the Jinhao one does take a standard international, which is nice. It does come with one. However, I've never had any problems with them, but comments have told me that they do break pretty easily because they're kind of cheap. Those cartridge converter things, but at least you get one to start off with. The Pilot does have a proprietary cartridge converter system. That said, all of Pilot's inks now, I believe, are cartridges, which is nice. And you can buy several different versions of their converters and then use that. It does come with like a squeeze bladder one, but I don't really like that one. So I swap it out for one of mine. And it does have a steel nib, which it only wants to focus on my face. This one happens to have a medium nib. The reason why I chose this one over the Jinhao is mostly because I feel like if you've never used fountain pens before, or you're just getting into the hobby, this is probably a safer bet for 3 reasons. One, the grip size is much smaller, significantly smaller than the grip size of the Jinhao. And while the longer you're in the hobby, people tend to prefer bigger grip sizes, this is kind of an extreme. And I think if you're coming from like a ballpoint, whatever kind of style, the Pilot grip section is going to be a little bit more palatable for you. So that's one. 2 is definitely the quality control a bit over the nibs. You're more likely to get one that writes really well out of the box from Pilot than you are from Jinhao. Not to say you can't get one that doesn't write well out of Pilot, because it's possible. 100% it's possible from anyone, anywhere, anytime. But I would say statistically, and I didn't do any stats on these, but I would say based on my own experience, you're going to have a better experience with this. And then thirdly, I think you just get a bit more option on what style you like. This one is obviously gray, whereas like you can choose multiple different colors from Pilot. They haven't done one in a while, but they used to make new ones here and there. And I think the build quality is also slightly better than the Jinhao, although to be fair, it's not that bad. This one is just more of a metal pen, so I feel like it might last longer than the Jinhao. So that's why I decided to bump the Jinhao out over this one. But both are good. That's why I put it as an honorable mention. And then for my last out of the 5, I chose a Leonardo Officina Italiana fountain pen. And that one is a Leonardo Momento 0. This one is in the Prugna finish, which is like a kind of red spaghetti resin. This one has rose gold trim. It's really, really nice. This one has a extra fine nib, that I purchased actually from Pen Venture, and Emmy, who owns the company, tuned it for me, which was just absolutely stunning. The build quality is fantastic on these pens. Like, I've had many Leonardos. The build quality on all of them are great. I love the grip section. It looks a little weird, but it just fits really nicely in my hand. The body of the fountain pen just rolled off my desk. And then it does come with a fancy pants converter that has like the Leonardo branding on top here. I like to put Diamond Writer's Blood. Oh my god, I almost had a writer's block in that one, and it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. Like I said, I have several other Leonardo pens, but that one in particular is my favorite, potentially because Emmy tuned it. I don't know, but it writes really well, and I love Diamond Writer's Blood, so that goes hand in hand. So I have the Leonardo, which I guess I should pick the body off of the floor because, you know, you don't want things on floor, and I'm going to hold up all 5 of them, and I can't hold it up if it's on the floor. So those are my 5 that I really think, at least in my collection, are my favorite 5 cartridge converter fountain pens. But let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite cartridge converter fountain pens are, because I'm always in the market for a new one. And I'm just curious straight up to see what you guys think. And then while you're down there, you might as well hit the like and subscribe. I mean, let's be real. New videos every Monday and Friday, the occasional Tuesday, the occasional Blitz, apparently. And then check the link in the description if you want to see my Patreon and help support me over there. We're having a good time. And yep, I'm going to see you guys on Friday with the top 5 piston fountain pens. Peace.